All right, what we're going to do is make a video to show you the easiest way to set up your shared iPads in your classroom. And the first thing you're going to need to have is a class list with their ID numbers. I believe you can get that from Skyward. If not, you can also get it from your secretary. And it was the class list or roster class list. And then what you're going to need to do is think about your grouping and how you're going to be using these iPads during their workshops. And so what we have here is an example. You have 10 different iPads that can have a maximum of 5 students listed on each iPad.
And so you essentially have 50 combinations.
Correct.
Of possible combinations.
Yes. And so one of our teachers is doing a high-low mix, another one is doing a rotation mix, so you have many, many different options. So we have a sample here with our 5 students, and then you need the class roster because their password is going to be their 4-digit password that they use for iStation and other things. And to make it easier, we went ahead and wrote it here, and it will make it much easier when it's time to set up the actual iPad.
So I have a question for you. Can Tweety Bird be on iPad 1 and iPad 6?
Yes, but you would just have to then add Tweety Bird to this one as well. So yes, you can have multiple students on iPads, which is what all of this says. So then you get the actual iPad, and one thing we've noticed is when you turn it on, as the directions show, you should have your class listed. But when it first comes on, that doesn't happen. You have to give it about probably 30 seconds and it will switch over to your class, because this is what you get at first. It's requiring an Apple ID. We are not messing with that. If you just give it a second, it's going to pop up. Maybe it's more than 30 seconds. I'm not quite sure.
Or maybe it's just at Lawrence Elementary. We'll find out.
Maybe it's faster. But once it switches over, you're going to have your class. So then you click on your class and all of your students are listed. And supposedly the manager for these and Skyward are supposed to communicate. So if a student enters your classroom or withdraws within 24 hours, they should be removed or added to your class list. So the first thing then you will do is choose the student that you are wanting to add to the iPad. And the first thing you're supposed to do is put in a password that's temporary of 1, 2, 3, 4. If it does not work, then you just set those aside and let Stephanie know, and then she knows who to contact to get that fixed. So it's getting ready for this first person, and that takes a few seconds as well. And then you have to go through the directions that are given you to choose English, United States, and sometimes United States is not up at the top and you have to scroll all the way down in alphabetical order to find it. So you click United States, and then you will put in the temporary, okay, we'll try this again. This is what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to put in the temporary password of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to enter the last 4 digits of their ID number, which will be their password. Sorry, you'll have to enter it twice. I'll flip this back around in a second. And that's pretty much it. It's changing the temporary password to their password, and it takes a few seconds. A minute, there we go. So now it is set up for this child, Elsie, that we were using. We've also found out how to switch it to the next child, which I don't have it set up yet, but what you have to do is hit the power button. Okay, I'm hitting volume by accident. Don't do that. Goes to sleep, hit the home button. So now it was set up for Elsie, but we need to log Elsie out.
So that's something that we're going to be teaching our students, that
Yes.
when they leave an iPad, they're going to be logging out.
Correct.
And there's a symbol of people.
And so now Elsie is listed, and then I would go and add the next child or children to this iPad. One thing you need to know though is, say if Elsie is using this iPad and she stops what she's doing and the iPad goes back to sleep, you have to hit the home button, and her initials will still be up on the iPad, but she's going to have to, not sure why it's doing that.
Hey, there's surprises every moment with technology.
Hey, yeah, that was interesting. Don't know what that's about, but I also, side note, anyways, back to this. So if Elsie was using this, she stopped using it and it went to sleep, then she's going to have to hit the home button. Her initials will be there, but then she's going to have to put in her password again.